How's it going, guys? Well, welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the Linear Bounded Phenogram. I'm kicking myself because this is the second time I've recorded this intro. So, I feel like I've had issues in the past with this game. I don't know why, but for some reason, my OBS doesn't seem to respond when I try to record this one. I feel like it conflicts with prioritizing the game, and it ends up not recording. Even though this is not the first time this has happened. As a matter of fact, I think in Linear Bound, it's happened 2 other times. I probably mentioned in the episodes themselves. One was a Faris episode where I'd gotten more than halfway, gone through 30 minutes without realizing I hadn't recorded anything, and then another one I think was when I was recording the Moeka one, but luckily, this time, I caught it kind of early, so thankfully, it's not too bad, but it's not great, so I have technically seen the next, 5-10 minutes of this, which is sad because the reactions are so good. I'm kind of upset. I'm kind of upset because it's brilliant and I love it. But we'll just jump right into the madness anyway. So recap real quick. Last time we were here, we are jumping through world lines once again, probably going back to, well, I know we are. We're going back to the world line number 3, because we've been doing a merry-go-round. We're just kind of going around and around and around these circles, but we've learned some important facts. First of all, the people coming after us are probably coming after us in response to a really crappy, technically illegal loan that we took out for 3 million yen. Why did we take out the loan? Because we wanted to buy Mayuri's grandmother's watch. Why did she not have it anymore? She sold it to a pawn shop so that we could have money to refurbish the lab, namely 3 million yen. We didn't know that. We spent all the money, then we find out, oh, now we got to get it back because it doesn't make sense for her to give up her most prized possession for us to just throw some money at dinky little projects, just to win a competition. So, we're jumping back into it. Now we're going to try and confront the Black Hoods. So let's just go for it, man. Let's go for it. My vision trembles, as does my brain. In spite of the usual dizziness, it was easy enough for me to tell where I was. I keep double-checking the recording's going. The Future Gadget Laboratory, the lab's development room, in fact. And in the corner of the room sat Mayuri. She's holding her knees with headphones in her ears. And I was like, ooh, so we're right in the thick of things. Yeah, so we're right where we want to be. She seems to be listening to music on some sort of portable music player. Mayuri's here. Beneath my relief, an idea began to surface. Mayuri's listening to music. But that would mean that this is world line number 3. Though I could discern that from the contents of the mail that triggered the reading Steiner this time. No going out. Lab is safe. Fight Black Hoods. So, as my dizziness fades, I took action. First, I run into the common room and check out the window. There was a black SUV, but no Black Hoods. Of course, so they're standing right outside the door. Gulp. I swallow and head to the door. Just to make sure, I look through the peephole. There they are, as I predicted. The fish-eyed lens gives everything a surreal, distorted effect, making their already strange appearance look even more bizarre and terrifying. Ooh, yeah, here we go. I unconsciously step away, then place my hands on my chest and compose myself. Go for it. Yeah, Faris, you do your thing. You motivate. Faris's voice suddenly echoed in my ears. That's right, I have to fight. What are you afraid of, Yon and Kyoma? I already know that eventually they'll kick down this door and force their way in. So, this time, I shall make the first move.
Yes.
Let's do this. I steal my resolve and unlock the door. Then I slowly twist the doorknob. From there... Give it some! Hadouken! I kick the door into them. Yes. I look down at my feet. 2 men in black hoods were crouched down, holding their nose and stomach. Odd. In my mental simulation, the single blow had domino effect, sending all 5 of the Black Hoods tumbling shamefully down the stairs. But I only managed to knock down the 2 of them. The other 3 are uninjured. Ugh. I gotta admit, those masks are really, 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 really creepy. A bead of cold sweat drips down my face. And for some reason, silence hangs over us. I couldn't tell through their masks, but it seemed like the 3 of them were struck dumb by my surprise attack. which means it's time for a follow-up attack. Or so I thought. Before I could take action, the black hood on the far left let out a subwoofer level roar. Yeah. Is that the Kansai dialect? Hiroshima, maybe? Hiroshima. Yeah. I was saying before, like, that voice reminds me of the goons that work for 4 degrees Celsius. Now, granted, that could just be similar voice acting or using similar lines, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they're somehow involved in this, because he keeps popping up. He just keeps popping up. I'm not sure, but that loud, weird voice was enough to send shivers down my spine. I guess these guys really are part of some creepy organization. Henceforth, the black hood that screamed will be referred to as number 1, the one standing to his right, number 2, and the one right of him, number 3. And the black hoods that were knocked down will be 4 and 5. Oh, here we go. While I was momentarily shocked, I couldn't let likes of this noisemaker take me down without a fight. If I were a frilled-necked lizard, I would expand my collar and intimidate them. Unfortunately, I am not a frilled-necked lizard, and my collar does not expand. If only, if only. Yes! To make up for this deficiency, I displayed Form 16 Mantis stance. Yes! Yes! Oh, Okabe, you make my life so much better. Then I roared. Yeah.
What? Yes. 聞いてる。聞いてねえよ。
I like how he says that out loud. It's working! In response, I switched to Form 17, Flying Crane Stance. A graceful towering stance with widespread wings resembling a red-crowned crane found in Kashiro National Park. Oh, Okabe, you're the best. Oh, I can't imagine the voice actor.
Huh?
Yeah, pretty much. With that, number 1 reached inside his cloak. He pulls something out. It was a single long sword. Fetch! Seriously?
What?
That's cheating. Sure, that's what you say. The final words, Okabe, choose them wisely. To be fair, like, even replica swords can be dangerous. Like, I've heard of people getting sent to the hospital from those things. He swings at me with a roar. I swiftly dodge his strike by leaping back. Then I try to strike the wait, no need to be rash pose, but doesn't seem to work on him. He pressures his way inside into the center of the room. Then number 2 and 3 follow behind him. Number 1 asks with a deep voice. I respond.
シーナは誰のことだ? とぼけるな。椎名真由里のことだ。知らんな。誰だ真由里って。とぼけるなと言っている。
It was at that moment. Yeah, is that gonna work? I don't know. Number 2's line of sight was pointing in the direction of the development room. No. As though he sensed my worry, number 1 narrowed his eyes behind his mask and spoke.
そこだな。
Number 1 takes a step forward. What do I do? What can I do? At this rate, Maria will be taken away. Right. Faris' voice reemerges in my ear. But how do I fight? How do I approach this? My opponent's carrying a longsword. There's no way I can win against a sword unless I have one myself. And I'm in the lab. Where am I supposed to find a... Well, that's a thing. Sword. Yeah, this is how the room gets covered in blood. Number 1 has already moved right in front of the development room. He's but a moment away from passing through the curtain. I have no time. There's no time to think. I instinctively rush toward the cardboard box and draw out a sword stashed inside. I take a stance and shout.
この俺に剣を持たせてしまうとはうかつだったな1号よ。
This is going to be the hardest choice for thumbnail I've ever had in an episode before. What am I supposed to do with this gold? 1号って誰だ? We're not going to comment on how how you could misconstrue that drawing. We're gonna pretend that it's wholesome. Perfectly wholesome.
精神三魔流拳法の極意しかとその目に焼き付けるがいい
Yeah.
行くぞつ
Fitch. My attempt was so pathetic I was at a loss for words. I charged and swung with number one with my sword, but his longsword easily knocked my blade away, shattering it to pieces. Which I suppose was to be expected. After all, in my hands was future gadget number 6. Callium Saber. I couldn't believe that I thought I stood a chance with that thing, even for a moment. Call it temporary insanity. I was running mainly on instinct when I grabbed the gadget. It's all over. Our annihilation ensured. I have no means of retaliation. My entire body is soaked with an unpleasant amount of sweat. On the other hand, number 1 was staring at the red liquid that was spilled all over his hands.
おいなんだよこれもしかして俺どっか怪我してる
いや見た感じ大丈夫みたいだけど
血のりってなんだよこれよく見たらマントにもぺっとりとついちゃってんじゃんかよ
Oh gosh, they like their look more than anything.
あとロングソードにもね
ありえねえこれ武器屋本舗で9万8000円もしたのに
Oh, nice. That blade works. That means just like the sword I bestowed upon Lukoko, the demon sword Samadiri, the longsword is artificial. Looking at it closely, the sharp edges of the blade were rounded off slightly. There was another thing I realized. Their attack with the Kalume saber wasn't meaningless. It is clear from the way these guys are freaking out that they really don't like their hoods getting dirty. My intuition told me as much. Sure, dude, sure. This is my chance to strike back. Again, ran toward the cardboard box and grabbed a bundle of Kalium sabers. On the end of each saber is a cap. I took off the caps and started throwing them one by one.
おいやめろ
やめるんだ
What the heck is happening?
やめてくれ
Needless to say, I didn't stop. I didn't let up in my retaliation and continued relentlessly to carpet bomb them. This is another one. Like, what is even happening here? It's amazing.
ダメだこのままじゃ全身血まみれにされちまう
うんあさってのゴミ間に着ていけなくなっちゃうよ
Yep, Kamima. Kamima. I thought I heard something like that, but I continued unabated. I continued throwing the uncapped Kalium sabers one after another. Wait a second, are they here to make Mayuri make them a costumes?
よしここはひとまず撤退だ
了解でも
いいからグズグズするな行くぞ
The three of them tripped over each other as they ran outside, but as I still hadn't yet discerned their identities, I chased after them, refusing to let them get away with this. I run down the stairs and come out the front door of the CRT workshop. The black SUV had already driven off. I can still see the car get further into the distance. Neither number 4 or 5 were at the entrance, so they must have started the engine and waited. Dang it! I wanted to chase after them, but there's no way I'd be able to catch up to a car. With nowhere to vent my anger, I could only stand there fuming. Then... Someone spoke behind me. I turned around to see... a black hood? I looked at the black hood with fury as I roared.
ちょっと待ってくださいう
るさい問題無や
I aimed at his torso and charged. Figure out who he is! We tumbled to the ground in a tangle of limbs. By the time we stopped, I was on top of him. I immediately take the mounting position and raise my right arm.
さあ観念しろコマンド
観念してます普通に観念してますって
いやお前はまだ観念していないもし仮に観念していたとしても残念ながら手遅れだ 俺のこの右腕の封印はもう解かれてしまったのだから、もはやこいつの暴走を止めることはこの俺自身にさえできん。
誰か
では行くぞ。震えよ我が右腕。契約に基づき命じる。漆黒の黒煙をまといて。
What is it happening? Then suddenly. Wait, what? A voice rained down from above my head. When I looked up, Mayuri was leaning out the window and shouting at me. Are you serious? Are you serious? Why did they keep running away with her then?
多分
I roughly tear off the man's mask. Underneath was...
お前は
Oh, the guy who we met in front of the coin lockers? Isn't that the... So, is that the brother I kind of pegged early on? Like... Yes! I thought so! Yes! Oh my gosh. Has this all been a big freaking ruse? What? I hate Fubuki's older brother. Nakase Shinichi is a cosplayer who works at a pawn shop. Through her connection with Fubuki and their mutual interest in cosplay, Mayuri and Shinichi have been close friends for a while. About a month ago, Mayuri came to visit Shinichi. Her purpose, to raise money. In order to fund for the future Gadget Magic mod project, Mayuri asked Shinichi for 3 million yen. Needless to say, pawn shops don't lend out money for free. So, as a pawn, Mayuri offered a Pockety. And of course, the pawn is an item brokered at a pawn to a broker. But despite the retro appeal of the pocket watch, there was no way it would be valued at 3 million yen. I was wondering about that, so Shinichi decided to lie. This is indeed a beautiful watch. It's definitely worth 3 million yen. But it'll be valued so highly, I'm afraid you'll need to wait a little. Then Shinichi ran to the bank, withdrew 3 million yen from his account, and handed it to Mayuri. In other words, he paid for it with his own money. By the way, Mayuri doesn't know this yet. She still thinks she borrowed the 3 million from the pawn shop. Mayuri wasn't around when Shinichi told me this. We told her that we needed to have a man-to-man conversation, emphasis on the man, and sent her home. But back to the issue. What the heck? A month passed, leading us to yesterday, August 12th. Mayuri didn't get the 3 million yen from the lottery, but by pawning Pockety. After obtaining this information from Daru, I visited Shinichi's pawn shop with the 3 million yen I had borrowed from Mondo Shinpan, apparently. I handed the money to Shinichi and asked him to return the pocket watch. But the pocket watch was not at the pawn shop. Shinichi was holding onto it himself. Shinichi, afraid of being caught in his lie, accepted the money and told me I'll return Shina's pocket watch personally, so please stand down on this matter. I obviously wasn't going to back down after being asked. It seemed we argued for 2 or 3 hours after that. But prompted by a certain statement, I eventually returned home empty-handed. Then came today, August 13th. Shinichi was supposed to meet with Mayuri to return the pocket watch. Their meeting time was 4:30, and he waited for Mayuri, but she never showed up. Which isn't a surprise. My past self had kept Mayuri in the lab after reading those 2 emails. He couldn't reach her by phone or email. His phone was dead, so there's no way to contact her. Normally one would think I'll just return it tomorrow or the day after, but not Shinichi. Not after I hammered that pocket watch is very important to Mayuri into his head over and over the day before. Shinichi wanted to return the pocket watch today no matter what. That's why he visited the lab. Mayuri had told him before that she was closely involved with this place after all.
なるほど。話は分かった。
Yeah, this has all been a horrific misunderstanding.
つまりお前はあの懐中時計をマユリに返すためにこのラボへとやってきたというわけだな。
いえ、正確に言うと 返すという目的のためにやってきたのです。
Uh-oh.
どう違う？
ちょっと違います。
まあいい。ところで連中は何者だ？あの黒マントを着ていた奴ら。お前も含めてだが、どうしてあんな身なりをしていた？
あいつらは僕のコスプレ仲間なんです。妹の吹雪とは違うサークルですけどね。
Right, that makes sense.
で、あのコスはあさってのコミマ向けにシーナが僕らのために作ってくれたもので。
So you wanted to show him off. Gosh darn it, though. Can't you see how that could be misinterpreted? And why did they draw a sword on him? I thought as much. Which means I've done wrong by Miri. I slightly start to regret throwing all the fake blood all over the costumes.
だが、街の中でまであんな格好する必要はないだろう。それともあれがお前たちの私服か？
もちろん違いますよ。
じゃあどうして？
僕らはここに来る前にシーナを探してたんです。僕がみんなに声をかけてシーナを見つけてほしいって頼んで、それでみんなで手分けして秋葉の街を捜索することにしたんですけど、そうは言っても秋葉も広いですし、簡単には見つかるわけないですよね。
Right.
だったら向こうから見つけてもらえばいいじゃないかって、そういうことになって。
I'm kind of glad it's something so simple and dumb, but it's also so dumb.
だからあんな目立つ格好を。
Right.
目立つっていうのもありますけど、あのコスはシーナが作ったものだからすぐ目に留まると思ったんです。でも結局は見つからず、このラボへ。
あの車は？
ロングソードを持ってたやついたでしょう。あいつの車です。あいつ頭に血が上ると手がつけられなくなるタイプで、ご存知だと思いますけど。
Okay, so he just has a short temper. But still, fetch, drawing a sword on somebody. Above our heads, countless stars were already twinkling. For some reason, the sky looked prettier here than in other world lines.
さて、それでは例のものを返してもらうとしようか。
例のもの？
決まってるだろう。懐中時計だよ。
それがここにはないんです。
Oh, he put it in the coin locker.
なぜ？
今夜どうしても知人のお通夜に出席しなくちゃいけなくて。
それは心からお悔やみ申し上げるが、それとこれとどういう関係がある？
もう今日はシーナには会えないと思ってたんです。約束の場所には来ないし、連絡も取れなかったから。でもどうしても今日中に懐中時計を返したくて。
Right.
だからロッカーに入れました。大ビル前のコインロッカーに。
Ah, great. And then it gets broken into.
なんだと？どうしてそんなことを？
だから言ったじゃないですか。今日はもう会えないと思ったからですよ。会えないけど絶対に返したかったんです、今日中に。そんな時どうすればいいと思います？これです。
Shinichi removed his cell phone from his pocket.
もしもギリギリまで探してどうしてもシーナが見つからなかったら、このメールを送るつもりでした。もちろんまだ未送信ですけど、下書きの状態のものがこれです。
I peeked into the phone screen that was faced toward me. It was written as follows. For Sheena, you know what? In DB locker number 005, the key is taped to the bottom of the locker. He must have sent it just as they had activated the time leap machine for some reason, and it sends it as an email. And it only takes the first 32 characters, which is for Sheena, you know what, in DB locker. Ah! A familiar sentence. There was no way I could forget. This is the ransom note.
なあ、一つ聞かせてくれ。お前の携帯メールのアカウント名は何だ？
どうしてそんなことを？
Because he's gotta know.
いいから頼む。教えてくれ。
I chain his snake ですけど。
Yeah.
意味は？
え？
そのアカウント名の意味は何だと聞いている？
意味なんて特にありませんよ。ただのアナグラムなんですから。
This is an anagram.
僕の名前は中瀬真一。
I chain his snake. Oh my gosh, that's actually kind of funny.
アルファベットを並び替えると I chain his snake になるんです。
That is actually pretty cool to be able to take a Japanese name, put it in Romaji, rearrange it into an English phrase. That's really neat. I felt like I was completely completely exsanguinated. I don't know if that's a word, but okay. I dried up from my toes up. At the same time, I heard click, the sound of things fitting together. These numerous fragments came together and shone in dazzling flash inside of me.
そうか。そういうことだったのか。
So now this is all we need to do. So, all we have to do is either A, we're gonna go to the coin lockers now, find it's been broken into, because somebody's like, oh, there's a watch here, it's worth 3 million yen, like it's stolen by like 4 degrees Celsius. We time leap before that happens and retrieve it because the key's underneath it. Or we do a D-mail jump to the original timeline. We tell Kurisu that there's no problem whatsoever, her phone's just dead, and we go get Pockety. Or she gets it from him because she actually goes to the meeting. So, yeah, just good grief. What a nightmare. Oh my gosh, this was all just stupid. At that moment, everything made sense. In a snap, I could see the full picture, the entire sequence of events. Then Kurisu entered the lab. She looked from me to Shinichi and back again with puzzlement.
この人、誰?
Shinichi and I just decided to go to the coin lockers in front of Daibiru. There was one thing I wanted to confirm. I told Kurisu to wait at the lab. My prediction is correct, I would need to send an email. Without anyone at the lab, the phone wave named to change wouldn't be active. So I asked Kurisu to take that post. Kurisu pressed me for explanation, but the moment I said I'll tell everyone to go to the net cafe, she swiftly fell in line. And here we are. Now regarding the issue, I want to confirm. The moment the coin locker came into view, I believed I had my answer. Because the door of the bottom left locker number 005 was severely deformed, but I still needed to check. I peeked inside the locker just in case. Yep, empty. Nothing inside.
そんな。
Shinichi was quite flustered, but the sight did not surprise me at all. It's an unfortunate turn of events, of course, but it's one I had already anticipated, so the shock isn't even severe for me. Yeah, it's okay.
何があったのか教えてほしいか。
知ってるんですか?
Yes, oddly enough, I do.
はあ。シドってやつがバールを使ってこじ開けたんだよ、このロッカーを。で、中の懐中時計を盗んでいきやがった。有名なコインロッカー嵐なんだと。
Yep.
くっそー。許せない。許せません。なんで警察はそんなやつを野放しにしておくんだ。
Well, they did catch him in World Line number 2. But that's probably not possible in this World Line number 3. That pocket watch has probably been sold off somewhere by now. As frustrating as it is, it's hard to deny that this is World Line 3. The possibility that Mayuri will be reunited with Pockety is incredibly slim. World Line number 2 is similarly frustrating. There, Pockety is in police custody as a piece of evidence, but will eventually be returned to Mayuri. Unfortunately, that Pockety is in a sorry state. The crash had done severe damage to it. So we gotta go back to World Line 1, which means I need you to send that email. So this is our way to get Pockety back unscathed. There is, but only one. I need to return to world line number 1. How? By sending a D-mail, of course. From whose phone? From Ichi's. From Shinichi's phone. Who's the recipient? My cell phone. When will you send it to? I should receive it at 4:03. What's the message? The message that Shinichi showed me earlier, just as it is. The D-mail will automatically delete any characters after the 36th single byte character after all. So for Sheena, you know what in DB locker number 005, the key is taped to the bottom of the locker. For Sheena, you know what in DB locker number 005, the key is taped to the bottom of the locker. So it's just those 3 lines. For Sheena, you know what in DB locker. Well, to be fair, I am deleting a space before the DB locker to keep the entirety of the last word in the D-mail. I'd fear returning to World Line 1 because of the risk that Mayuri will go missing. But that's no longer a concern, because I am now aware that Ichi is no kidnapper. The answer lies within the D-mail that my sidekick sent. That disturbing mangle of letters. I brought Shinichi's phone, opened up the saved message from earlier, and sent the recipient as the phone wave ninja to change. I've already informed Kudasi of my intended time and recipient. All I need to do is call her. However, her cell phone is currently incapacitated due to dropping it in the toilet at the net cafe. So I thought I would call the Braun Tube Workshop, but I never saved its number into my phone. So I dialed 104 and asked to be connected directly.
Hi, こちらブラウン管工房.
I said, due to complicated turn of events, I need to talk to Kudasi in the lab ASAP. Would you do me a favor, go upstairs and get her for me? To which the owner replied,
バカにすんな。うちの電話はコードレスだ。2階なら電波が届くだろうから、この電話機をそのまま貸してやる。待ってろ。
Thank you. He's actually compliant. That's nice. He put me on hold where I was greeted with the classic holding waiting music for Elise. While I waited, I turned my attention to Shinichi.
なあ新一、2つだけ聞きたいことがあるんだがいいか。
なんでしょう。
もしもの話だ。さっきマユリを捜索していた時に、お前の仲間のうちの一人が、例えばロングソードを持っていたあいつがマユリを発見したとしたらどうすると思う？
Yeah, probably go off the deep end.
あいつのことだから、多分シーナの手を強引に引っ張って無理やりにでも僕のところまで連れてこようとしたんじゃないかと思います。
What a creep.
その後は？
僕はシーナに会ってもちろん懐中時計を返します。
すでにこのロッカーに入れた後だったとしたら？
そしたらこのロッカーのところまでシーナを連れてきて。
だがご覧のようなありさまだったら？
それは困りますね。多分泣きじゃくって詫びを入れて、それから
Aww.
どうするかな。最終的にはあの研究所、ラボって言うんでしたっけ、あそこに送っていったと思います。実は今も泣きそうなんですけどね。
Aww, he's such a sensitive one. Sad Shinichi as he said Shinichi as he wiped at the end of his eyes with the back of his hand. It says for Elise, Fear Elise is still playing. Without taking the phone away from my ear, I asked the next question.
2つ目だ。俺が昨日質屋に行った時、お前はある言葉を告げることによって最終的に俺を納得させたと言ってたな。そのある言葉とは何だ？
When I asked, Shinichi looked up at the night sky and stretched out his arm and formed a fist as if he was trying to grasp the stars. Then he responded.
僕はシーナのことが好きなんです。そう言いました。
Oh. Oh. Well, isn't that a bit of a turn?
だから懐中時計はどうしても自分の手で返したいのだと。
Right. And why you were willing to freaking just fork over 3 million yen alone on your own. Something just at my foot.
ああ、もしもし、岡部？変わったわ。ん？もしもーし。
Wake up, Okabe. You got all the answers you need.
聞こえてる。
だったら返事しなさいよ。ったくも。店長、カンカンに怒ってたわよ。ラボの惨状を見てね。
Oh, yeah.
一応サイリウムセーバーの残骸は片付けておいたんだけど、あの血痕。血のりの後は手間がかかりそうだったからそのままにしておいたの。電話レンジを起動させたら、このコードレスフォンを返しに店長のところに行かなきゃいけないのよね。またこってりと絞られそうでうんざりするわ。
Don't worry, this world will not be erased. I inadvertently looked down at my body. My clothes are covered with stains from the fake blood and my hands are all red. Must have gotten covered when I jumped on Shinichi.
ああ、そうそう。大事なことを言い忘れてたけど、電話レンジの設定はすでに完了してるから、あとは起動させるだけよ。
Do it.
ねえ、本当にどうしたの？何かあった？
いや、大丈夫だ。では行こう。電話レンジカッコ仮起動。
Let's do it.
了解。
Shortly after, I can hear the sound of sparks through the phone.
放電現象発生確認。
Send it. Prompted by those words, I take Shinichi's phone and press send. Now do we have the time leap to stop the panic? Hey! When the dizziness faded, Kurisu was standing in front of me. But I didn't have time to explain. Without saying anything, I rushed to the locker in the bottom left corner and stuck my hand underneath it. I feel something hard against my fingertips. It was affixed to the bottom of the locker with a piece of tape. I peel it off and take a look at what I found. Sure enough, it was the key to the locker. The number 005 engraved on it.
よし。
Ah, yes!
ちょっと何なの？
わけは後で説明する。黙って見ててくれ。
Leaving the flummoxed Kurisu aside, I did what I had to do. I inserted the key to the locker number 5 and twisted it. It unlocked with a nice metallic snap. I take a few deep breaths, close my eyes. Please be there. With that wish in my heart, I take hold of the locker door and open it. Inside. Hey! Yes! Was the pocket watch. Mayuri's most precious treasure, Pockety. And of course, Pockety was completely unscathed. Sparkling clean, too, just the way it should be. Yeah,
見たかしどよ。これが魔眼の力だ。
yeah. Once I launch my beautiful tenor voice toward the outer space, I take Pockety out of the locker and put it in my pocket. As you should have likely discerned by now, the reason why Pockety was left unharmed in world item number 1 is because Kurisu and I maintained our vigil in front of the lockers. As a result, 4 degrees Celsius couldn't do his job and break into the locker.
さあ行くぞ、クリスティーナ。
行くってどこに？
Back to the lab, where we're going to meet Mayuri.
無論、我らが根城、ラボに決まっておろうが。
イクスのことはどうするのよ？
He's gonna join us there.
イクスは誘拐犯などではなかった。ただの質屋のコスプレイヤーだ。コスプレイヤーの質屋と言ってもいいが。
He's just a pawn shop working cosplayer. In other words, a cosplaying pawn shop worker.
よくわからないけど。それじゃあマユリは？
マユリのことなら案ずるな。事件はすべて解決した。いや、そもそも最初から事件ですらなかったのかもしれないが。
I do think it's kind of funny because like we're so used to this storyline revolving around horrific things happening to Mayuri and trying to use the time leap machine to correct them. That for once, like that paranoia worked against Okabe from the start and led to this entire series of just ridiculousness because he didn't understand what was happening. And it was all like, I love this actually. Like now that I think about it, like the exploration of a story like this where we made our own problems the whole time was really fun. It's a cool way to explore, and like what most of us would likely go through if we actually had a D-mail machine, like a time leap machine or like the phone wave. Like this is probably what most of us would experience, to just be just insanity. Although I doubt we'd be lucky enough to be able to circle through the same thing over and over again to be able to actually make a discernible like answer and solution come up.
は？
とにかく行くぞ。アットチャンネルはクリスよ。ラボへ帰還だ。
その二つので呼ぶな。
So cute.
というわけで、すべての謎は解けたのだよ諸君。
全然どういうわけなのかわからないんですけど。
Yeah, I know.
詳しく。
Deets, please. As further details, please. Internet slang.
よかろう。では教えてやる。すべては15時18分。この時刻にマイルの携帯に届いた一通の D メールから始まったのだ。要するにこのマイルの携帯の中に答えが隠されているということ。
Speaking of which, we still have... Yep. I chained his snake.
だがあいにくとこの携帯は今充電が切れている。このままでは中のメールを読むことができない。ダル、その辺に俺の携帯の充電器があるから取ってくれないか。
Why can't you get it?
断る。
But I refuse.
そこは断るところじゃないだろう。おいよ。
Said Daru as he tossed the charger over to me. After catching it, I connected it to Mayuri's phone and stuck the power plug into the wall outlet. Since Mayuri and my phones are from the same company, we can use the same chargers. It's so nice when that happens.
じゃあ早速そのメールを。
またれ、クリスティーナ。そうことをせくでない。
Yeah.
物事には順序というものがあるのだ。山村先生もそう言っていた。
誰よそれ。
とにかく話はすぐに終わる。まあ聞いてくれ。当該の D メールには2つの謎があった。一つは文面について、もう一つは送信者についてだ。
Yes, yes, yes. Alright, let's do this.
ひとまず送信者の方から片付けておくことにする。
Okay, so...
結論から言おう。この D メールを送ったのはクリスティーナ。
Yes!
お前だ。
Just save your phone.
なんなのよその犯人はお前だっていう言い方は。
Well, you did start
大
this.
体私 D メールなんて送ってないし。
送ったのだよ。第三世界線でな。送信者のアカウント名はサイドキック257となっていた。
Psychic 257.
サイドキック 257？ それってマユリの携帯にあった。
Mm-hmm.
だからマイルの携帯に送られてきたと散々パラ言っておろうが。
ああ、それじゃあ15時18分に届いた D メールって
そう、だ。
Kurusu and I saw the demo together here in World Line 1. That's why Kurusu knows the content.
なんか僕だけぼっち的な？
Yeah, yeah, I know.
安心しろダル。クリスティーナも全く気づいていないようだから。
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but
なんか腹
it's
立つ。
not like they have any memories. Okabe, be nice.
いいから戻すぞ。アカウント名についての話だ。クリスティーナ、サイドキックとはどういう意味だ？
Right, right.
親友とか仲間とか相棒とか、それから助手とか。
クム。ところでクリスティーナ、お前は俺にとっての何だ？
赤の他人。
A complete stranger.
助手だ。自覚を持て。第一世界線のクリスティーナよ。少なくとも第三世界線でのクリスティーナは意識しているようだったぞ。
To be fair, you had saved her life, so she was feeling a lot more sociable.
そうでなければサイドキックなどというアカウント名はつけないだろうからな。
なんだか論理が逆転してるような気がしますけど。
あくまでサイドキック257は自分ではないと言い張るつもりか？
そうは言ってないけど。
では聞こう。お前の誕生日は何月何日だ？
Oh, snap!
7月25日。
月と日を逆にすると
257.
257?
だけど、私そんなアカウントのメールアドレス持ってないし。
That's kind of sad though. July 25th. So like, in the initial world line, like she gets killed by Nakabaki or Okabe, like right around her birthday.
それはそうだ。なぜならこのアドレスは第三世界線での助手がネカフェで作ったステアードだったのだからな。
Yep, disposable email. A disposable email address used for a brief period of time, typically used to create some kind of account where the email address is required, but the user wants to avoid any junk mail. Also used to keep one's personal information private. It's relatively easy to create disposable email addresses thanks to free providers. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to do that. I actually don't. I just have a spam email. But then other than that, like, it's just nice that we have the option to do that.
ネカフェマキセ氏、ネカフェなんて行くん？
She needed to.
行くわけないでしょ。
どうして白を切る？ネカフェに行くことはそんなに恥ずべきことではないぞ。
そうだ。普通にリア充とかスイーツとかイケメンとかも言ってる。
Mainstream women? A derogatory term used by otaku to describe women who subscribe to a way of thinking incomprehensible to men, such as women are supposedly influenced by mainstream culture to promoted by women's magazines. Some claim this is a phrase used by men to justify their lack of success with women. Yes. It's not Karen's. This would be Stacy's now, right? Like instead of like we refer to them as Stacy. Or not we. I dare not say we. Good grief, that's a slip of the tongue right there. No, like those people. Ugh. After Dara's explanation, Kudoshi started twirling her hair with her finger and said,
じゃあ、行ったのかも。
言ったのだよ。確かに第三世界線でな。自分でそう言っていたのだから間違いない。
I'm a little annoyed at World Line 3 me.
さて、話をステアードの件に戻そう。助手はこれをいつ作ったのか。おそらく俺を3分間待たせていた時だ。
In World Line 3, Kudoshi told me to wait for 3 minutes before settling the phone wave and he started to change his timer to activate it. She hung up on me. Because she called me from a public phone, perhaps she immediately went back to her booth, got to the computer, and proceeded to create the disposable account. Within 3 minutes, the account was made. Kudoshi then wrote the email and sent it to the phone wave and started to change with the delayed send function.
常人のなせる技ではないが、アットチャンネラークリスのスキルをもってすれば不可能ではなかったものと思われる。
One cannot forget that Kudoshi is a prodigy, who at the age of 17 had her work published in a major science magazine.
でもどうしてわざわざ PC からメールを送る必要があったん？
その時、第三世界線での助手の携帯は壊れていたからだ。ネカフェのトイレに落としたらしい。
Yeah.
Oof,
exactly.
ところで、助手はこの時もう一つ不可解な挙動を見せている。最初は D メールの転送先を俺の携帯にするよう指示していたのだが、なんと放電現象が始まってから突然前入りの携帯に変えるようにと電話をかけてきたのだ。
Yeah.
これは D メールの文面が暗号化されていたこととも密接なつながりがある。
Oh, it was to undo the other D emails, right?
暗号化されてたん？
そうだ。と言ってもデジタルな暗号ではない。ものすごくアナログな暗号。ある特定の人間にしか判読できないよう文字が組み替えられていたのだ。ではなぜそんなことをしたのか。はじめは俺の携帯に送るつもりだったからだ。
This email, like many others, contained a word of instruction, telling me to do something. If I had received the email as originally intended, I probably would have carried out the instructions in the email without fail. But what if I was caught by an enemy after I had done so? My phone would be taken and my foe would check my inbox, learning immediately what I had done. which would defeat the purpose of sending an email in the first place.
そこで第三世界線の助手はメールの文面を暗号化することにしたのだ。
つまり岡部だけに読めて敵には読めないメールにすることによって、万が一敵に携帯を奪われてもある指示が簡単には露呈しないようにしたってわけね。
Right.
その通り。
Oh, what? I can't remember the message.
じゃあその後送信先を眉氏に変えたのはなんでなん？
簡単なことだ。暗号化だのなんだのめんどくさいことをしなくても、単に送信先を前入りに設定するだけでほぼ確実にある指示を知られないようにすることが可能だからだ。第三世界線での助手はメールを遅延送信してからそのことに気づいた。だから慌てて俺に電話をかけてきて、送信先を前入りに変更するよう要請してきたのだ。
さてと、それじゃあそろそろ聞かせてもらいましょうか。答えとやらを。
Yeah.
いいだろう。
I sent it, powered on Mayuri's phone, opened the inbox. I proceeded to display the encrypted message in order, primarily for Daro's sake, because Kiryu had seen them once before. Kidnap. Yeah, that made no sense.
助手が俺に向けて送った暗号文だ。ということは当然のごとく、俺はこの暗号の解読法を知っていなければならない。
How do you decipher it?
また同様に、この暗号文を作った助手自身も当たり前のことだが、この暗号の解き方を知っていることになる。では、その解き方とは何だ？俺と助手が二人とも知っている暗号とは。
What cipher do they share? I don't know. I don't know. Don't look at me.
気づいたきっかけは、ダルが第二世界線で教えてくれた内容にある。
The first letter of each paragraph? But that'd only be 3
僕
letters.
がなんかエロいこと言ったん？
No.
エロいことは言っていない。
Yeah, no, definitely not.
ちなみにこの書き込みを見つけてくれたのはマキセ氏ね。
Ah, right. She's the one who knows how to decipher things.
おかりん、本当に覚えてないん？このアトちゃんの書き込み、ゆうべも見せたっしょ。その時はスラスラと普通に読んでたじゃん。え？つまりどういうこと？
わからないか？縦読みだよ。
Oh.
そうか。3通に分かれたメールをサンドイッチみたいに重ねればいいのね。
Mayuri will be kidnapped. Kidnapped. Hide. No, it's like so it's like kidnapped. Okay. Kidnapped. Exclamation. I can't catch the last part.
左端の列から順番に縦に読んでいけばいいだけだ。
Now, to read correctly from left to right, letter by letter. Like it's this. Mary will be kidnapped, hiding ghost. Hiding ghost. Hiding ghost. What?
マユリ。
拉致される。
迷彩ボールに。
隠せ。
I give them a small nod and speak.
15時18分にこの D メールを受け取ったマユリはおそらくすぐに、いやすぐにではないかもしれないが、とにかくいずれにせよ不審なメールが届いたことを俺のところへと知らせに来たはずだ。
Right.
この時刻俺とマユリは一緒にラボにいたからな。きっとあいつのことだから ねえねえオカリン変なメールが来た
Yeah,
俺のところに携帯を見せに来たのだろ
that is exactly how she would say it.
うでこいつを解読した過去の俺は指示通りのことをそっくりそのまま実行に移したのだ
ってことは
マユリはずっと。
そうここにいたんだよ
I walked towards the corner of the room and pulled the charge cable from the wall.
フォカヌポー未来ガジェット7号機広角機動迷彩ボールデモナイズエディションバージョン 1.24 降臨きたこれ
Ghost in the ball?
デモナイズエディション
魔改造したからそう呼ぶことにしたんだお
ねえ、そんなことよりも本当にこの中にマユリが？
調べてみればわかる
Yeah, what the heck?
ナダルこいつはどうやって開ける
単純に上に持ち上げるだけだお
As instructed, I lifted up the ghost in the ball. And there was Mayuri. Aww. So yeah, that's the blanket that's supposed to be like blending into like backgrounds, if I remember correctly. And she's just sleeping in it. Mayuri lay on the comforter on the floor, curled up like a cat. She's sound asleep.
やれやれ。拍子抜けね。
は
I'm glad
あ、あ
though.
んだけ心配したのは何だったん
でも、なんだかとっても幸せそう。
かくれんぼしてる最中に押し入れの中で眠っちゃった子供みたいだお
Oh yeah.
とにかく、よかったわね、岡部。
Yes.
は
Yeah. That one word was all I had left in me. If I tried for a second, I would have loosed tears from my eyes. For a while, we just silently looked at Mayuri's sleeping face. And while I listened to her sleeping breath, I found myself wondering, why didn't I hide Mayuri inside Ghost in the Ball in World Line 2 or 3? The encrypted likely email would have reached Mayuri's phone at 1518 in both of them. So why didn't I follow the instructions? The following is merely a hypothesis, so I may very well be mistaken. But perhaps both World Line 2 and 3 play out like so. First, Mayuri receives the email at 3:18 p.m. Then Mayuri, with puzzled huh and several hmms, tried to work out the garbled message of her own, placing all her intelligence into the task. But during this time, in both World Line 2 and 3, I received the Keep Mayuri In and Stop Kidnapping email. That would be 3:20, just 2 minutes after Mayuri receives the encrypted email. Seeing this email, I likely found myself so caught up in the imminent threat that I didn't give Mayuri the chance to say a word about her email. And on Mayuri's part, listen, Mayuri, you are under no circumstances to leave this place. Stay in the lab, got it? I imagine after hearing my stark warning and seeing the fire in my eyes, she found it difficult to bring up a strange, seemingly unrelated message. 4 minutes later, at 3:24, I received a phone call from Kurisu in World Line number 2. Of course, the call was in regards to the email that she received, which said, Tail Mayuri, perpetrator must be caught. In World Line number 3, the other hand, at 3:22, I received the Stop Summit, Use No Fire, Lab Will Burned email, which is shortly followed by Mayuri receiving the No Going Out, Lab is Safe, Fight Black Hoods email, 3:26. These consecutive emails must have thrown the lab into chaos, costing Mayuri the opportunity to tell me about the first message she received. It all makes so much sense, but these emails are limited to their respective world lines. In this world line number 1, there was never a situation where we received multiple emails consecutively, so Mayuri probably had more leeway to approach me. Hey, Okabe, I got a weird message. I also wouldn't have been in a panic, so I'd have been able to focus on decrypting the message, therefore, this is the result. That's why I didn't hide Mayuri in world line number 2 or 3. Though maybe it's more accurate to say that those 2 world lines were produced because I didn't hide Mayuri. And while I was thinking about all that... Aww. Mayuri began to stir and slowly opened her eyes.
あれどうしたのみんな
The 3 of us looked at each other and grinned.
トゥットゥルー
Do-do-do.
マイシーだよ
Yeah, you are.
なんだその気の抜けた感じのトゥットゥルーは
だってまだ起きたばっかりだし。
岡部、あれは？
あ、そうだったな。
I pulled you know what out of my pocket, placed it in Mayuri's palm, and closed her hand over it. Mayuri seemed puzzled.
あれ？あれあれあれ？
Aww.
これ怪獣だ。戻ってきたんだ。
Then she jumped to her feet.
でもこれどうしたの？
空から降ってきた。
It fell from the sky.
本当かな？なんだかよくわからないけど、マユシーはとっても嬉しいのです。ありがとう、オカリ。
Well, you also need to thank him. What was his name? I can't remember. Mayuri gently placed Pockety against her ear. She looked enchanted as she listened to it tick.
ねえ、ところでマユシ、本当にあの迷彩ボールの中にずーっといたん？
どうしてそんなこと聞くの？
Cause we've been looking for you.
もしかしていなくなっちゃったんじゃないかってみんなでちょっと心配してたから。
いなくなる？いなくなることなんてないよ。マユシーはずーっとここにいるもん。いなくちゃいけないんだもん。だってマユシーはね、
Yeah.
オカリンの
Akarin's hostage.
人質だか
Aww. What a sweet ending. Ah, I'm so sad that we're pretty much at the end. I think I've heard there's one more ending that we're going to explore before we end this series, but I have to make sure I've unlocked it. But I did play all the other routes, so hopefully we do. But regardless, man, this is like the end of Linear Bound Phenogram. Overall, fantastic. Of course, is it going to compare with Steinsgate, like original? No. And Zero? No. Zero was really good too. But the thing is, when you have such a rich, well thought out, fantastic story full of fantastic characters, you want more. You want that more, those little side stories. Because obviously these stories are all great and they're all relevant, but they're just too much to pack into the original game. But the creators had them in their minds. I guarantee you they wrote most of these story arcs like when they were originally crafting the original storyline. And this is just a taster because like, wow, our game was successful. They probably would be interested in more. And we're all like, yes, give us more. So they gave us more. So yeah, am I ever going to claim that this is better? Of course not. None of us can. The Steinsgate original is the boiled down version of what they wanted to make sure they told us story-wise. But these are runs and stories and adventures and thought explorations through the same universe that just would have made it too bulky to put into the main storyline. But for those of us who are really big fans of the narrative and want to know more about the universe and characters, it's exactly what we want. Just a glimpse more. It's the same thing we're seeing in all the Muv-Love spin-offs that I'm starting to dive into. Are they as great as the core? No, absolutely not. Because the core is the cut-down version, the edited version of the essentials that you need to enjoy the story. But it doesn't mean that these aren't worthy additions and that it's something we don't want to have in our lives. We absolutely want this in our lives. I think I might do a wrap party for the Linear Bound Phenogram and my darlings or whatever, the dating sim one. I might just put those together and summarize them all. Like, so I might roll right into that and wrap up Steinsgate for now. Because I don't think they're going to do any more Steinsgate specific material. And then we gotta contemplate what the next stuff we're gonna be jumping into is, because oh boy, there's a lot to go for. Though I think I have a promise I have to go back into something, so I've got a good idea of where we're heading after this, but you'll have to wait and find out. Plus, we have a few more episodes at least before we get there. So this is like a couple months away, but probably before Christmas. All right. Okay. Now that that's... Oh, hey!
オカリ、誰か来たみたいだよ。
Yeah, okay.
誰だこんな時間に。
Oh, it's gonna be that dude. It's gonna be the dude that like wants to confess to her, right? I headed toward the door and slowly opened it. And who should appear but...
桐生。
It is the 13th.
どこかでお会いしましたっけ？
Wait, what? We haven't met in this one? I just really checked the time, 7:53. It wasn't exact, but it was close to the time that the rounders raided our lab. No, not now. You can't breathe. I was frozen, unable to move a muscle. Then Dario came up from behind me.
あ、もしかしてタブオクの出版関係の会社に勤めてる
Right.
ヘンプロですけどね。アークディライトという。
Larkly right. Mocha's using full sentences. Yeah, that is really weird. What the heck? Is it not the shining finger I know?
約束の時間20時でしたね。少し早すぎましたか？
Okay, what is happening? What?
いえ、それは別にいいんですけど。
では、例のもの、いただけます？
What?
いやー、それがなんというか。
What? The book? Dario cast his glance toward the corner of the room. Where I followed his line of sight, I saw it. Oh, soaked in Dr. P. The thing I spilled Dr. P all over. That somebody bought for 3 million yen. No, what they were supposed to buy for 3 million yen.
スケッチブック。
残念ですね。これではちょっと。
We could fix that, you know.
お邪魔しました。失礼します。
Suddenly my petrification was lifted. Right, as Mocha disappeared out the door, I quickly turned around. I ran as fast as I could into the development room. Oh no. If this starts it again...
ちょっと岡部、何をするつもり？
Kirisu asked as she chased after me. She has a look of concern on her face, which probably means that it was a rhetorical question.
まさか冗談でしょ？
I stood in front of the X68,000.
まだ解決していないことが一つだけ残っている。俺が抱えている借金300万円の件だ。
だからそれは払う必要ないって。
いや、おそらく無理だ。俺はいずれ東京湾に沈められることになる。このままずっと返さなければな。
Yeah, probably.
返済手段として考えられる方法は2つ。一つは秋葉発明コンテストで大賞を取ること。そしてもう一つは過去に戻ってスケッチブックが毒ペまみれになるのを阻止することだ。
どっちを選択するつもり？
愚問だなクリスティーナよ。どっちを選択するだと？そんなものは決まっているではないか。
That's not for me to decide. It's the will of Steinsgate.
俺はシュタインズゲートの選択に身を委ねるまでだ。L
サ
イ
コング
コングルー。
How fun. And back we go. Abduction across 3 worlds. What a great leap and fun. Oh, I love that. Excellent, excellent. Now we see. Now we go to see. And if not, I'll have to do some research. But if I'm right, yes! Yes, new world line was discovered. The 5th engram. Oh. Lunar Bifrost from not... Is this one going to be saved for YouTube? She was freaking bananas. And I'm not sure if I want to be privy to that, but we have to explore. So we have more coming up next time. This final little chapter. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but we will be exploring it as the final capstone for this game. And ooh, it's going to be interesting. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel for this nice, juicy, long episode. But I think that's all we got the time for. So until the next video, watch with me. I hope to see you next. I'll see you there.